What is going on, my beautiful people? SKITZ here, back with my 19th coffee talk. Yes, I said coffee talk for those that have no idea what these are or have just joined the channel and they're brand new. These are different from my short and sweet World of Warcraft guides. These are made for your commute, whether you're in the gym or you have 45 minutes or an hour to kill. I know the holiday season is coming up and there's a lot of travel, a lot of family, so if you want to put this on, whether in the car or your headset and just escape, get away, these are made for you to absorb the material, to relax. There's no itinerary, and basically what I did for this episode, what's going to happen here is I put down my top 10 things, I guess, to make you a better gold goblin, to make you as much gold as I possibly can. I have 10 tips or tricks here, ranging from, beginner mode to intermediate to some things that people are going to be like, yo, are you serious? I never knew that was possible. So sit back, relax. I'm going to take my webcam down and everything else, and then I'm going to bring the video back up. I might periodically click through the auction house, but let's get into it, guys. Alright guys, the first thing on the list here is very simple, but a majority of new goblins, middle-aged goblins, short goblins, small goblins, his goblin, her goblin, tall goblin, do not do this. And what is that? Setting your basic auction house add-on, whether it's TSM or Auctionator or even the stock add-on, I believe, set the undercut price or the undercut setting to 1 copper. So what does that mean? Basically, if I go to my auction house settings right here under options, I can, under my undercutting settings, I can choose to undercut by, however much. And you guys can see here for over 500 gold, 100 gold, 25, no matter if it's 1 copper or 50 million, I am going to undercut everything by 1 copper. This not only helps you make so much more gold, but it helps your fellow gold goblins around you, because realistically, when you're in an undercutting battle or an auction house battle with somebody else listing and listing and listing, they're never going to be mad at you for undercutting them the right way. And by 1 copper, it'll leave room for you both to make money, because obviously if you guys are going back and forth, you both are going to have sales, but why have those sales with 50 gold increments of decreased, gold in between? So that is going to be, if you're sitting or you're watching or listening right now, or you're at your computer, go to your settings, whether it's stock or TSM or Auctionator, and set that setting to 1 copper the whole way around. Alright guys, so number 2 here, I have selling BOEs, transmog, pets, mounts, all of those specifically, you have to use trade chat. You don't have to, but for playing WoW for 13 years, I know the crafting reagents, the hot commodities, all of like the Imperium or herbs or cloth or leather, those are going to sell. People are buying those up on a regular basis all day long. Those move quickly, right? If you land on, let's say we do the new raid on Taurus, or we do Tomb or something, and we land on a BOE 101 twink that's worth 45k or 50k or 60k, yeah, it's going to be awesome, right, listing that, but why not go to trade chat? Here's a simple tip that I like to use. I list the BOE, and right after I link it, I put the actual stats right next to it in trade chat to let the people know whether they want to click on it or not. They can actually see, link this item, 101 twink, crit, haste, mastery, PST, smiley face, whatever. But just engaging people in the conversation will get you so many more sales than just listing, stuff on the auction house and just trying to set it and forget it. So make sure with, your BOEs, your higher commodity transmog items, you can even sell those in sets, your battle pets, all of the, bigger pets that sell for more gold, and then your mounts, obviously, like your bigger mounts, your more expensive mounts. Push those guys in trade chat and list the specs, list as much stuff as you can to make it appealing, to see if they click on it, or if they don't click on it, you guys will be in good shape. So number 3, and periodically, guys, I'm going to be sipping my pre-workout here through this coffee talk here, so my motor mouth gets a little bit parched every once in a while. So number 3 is always sell during Tuesday reset and always buy later in the week. So if you guys are following my live stream, I'll give you all the information at the end of this. It'll be in the description, but I always preach selling on Tuesday reset and then buying periodically through the rest of the week, but more importantly, the end of the week. So like your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday before Tuesday reset. Why is this? Okay, guys, because if you notice, now everyone's got a class haul. Now on Tuesday reset, what changes? Okay, so throughout the week, the new raid's out, everybody's hype, all this stuff is, you know, going well. But what happens? Every single Tuesday, depending on the Mythic Plus you finished the previous week. So now, I believe if you do a 15 plus, you're guaranteed a 960 plus item level gear, and then it scales so on and so forth. But that's not the point. The point is every Tuesday, no matter, you have to do a Mythic Plus just to get you eligible to land a piece of gear and a keystone and artifact power, so on and so forth. But Tuesday is the only day that free gear, I like to call it, just like comes out of everywhere. Why? Number one, like I said, your class haul, your cash, you're going to open that up. You may or may not get a free piece of gear. What does that gear typically need? An enchant, a socket, all kinds of great stuff. You know what I'm saying? So what else? The raids reset. Normal, heroic, mythic. People are spamming the brand new affixes for some juicy weeks. Week to week, certain mythic pluses have better affixes. More appealing to a lot of people, and also the raids are huge because, like I said, in Taurus, people are blowing through that on normal. They're getting all kinds of upgrades, and even PvP wise, guys, when you do your new 10 wins for the week or your BGs, the Tuesday reset is going to be when everything flies off the shelf. Not even gem-based or enchant-based or gear-based, the food, the flasks, everything around World of Warcraft revolves around a heavy Tuesday reset. If you notice, some of the bigger gold goblins, myself included, people that have made tens and hundreds of millions of gold in World of Warcraft, they might take 2 or 3 days off during the week and won't do anything until Tuesday. But if you want to see some crazy stuff, check out, I wouldn't even recommend coming to Kel'Thuzad Alliance, because there's just a couple people on this realm that go balls to the wall and just nuts with listing and relisting on Tuesday, because they know that's the time to get rid of everything. Now on the flip side of that, guys, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all progressive throughout the week, items are dropping and dropping and dropping. Why? People are clearing normal, heroic, they're doing their raids, they're doing their Mythic Plus dungeons, right? But after they finish those, what do they usually fall back to? Go to farming, go to AP grinding, go do world quests, go do all kinds of other stuff, and then a majority of the items necessarily are cheaper during the later part of the week. Number one, because people aren't buying it as much because it's not Tuesday. So as soon as they got everything they needed Tuesday, Wednesday, that's about it for the week. So the rest of the week, it's going to be just like leisure items and an influx of crafting reagents and all kinds of stuff on the auction house, and that is the time to buy. I can't tell you guys how many times I've scooped up ley light shards, chaos crystals, all of Arcana throughout the later part of the week for dirt cheap, and then Tuesday reset, these enchants are selling for 5,000 gold when the material cost of all of these things are literally like 1,500 or less, or 1,000 gold. So I'm going to go through another bullet point regarding that a little bit later on in this coffee talk. But I would definitely be consistent with resetting and selling a majority of your stock on Tuesday reset, and then always buy later on in the week and check your prices. Okay, number 4, guys, is be consistent with your high frequency auctions. So what does that mean, guys? High frequency auctions, this was a term, I guess, kind of coined by Azeroth Bank, one of my buddies on Kel'Thuzad, and he basically named it this because high frequency, meaning when I make for instance, guys, 10 of each gem or 20 of each gem for Tuesday reset, it's going to be awesome listing it and hoping it sells. But if you're not a frequent delister and relister throughout that Tuesday reset or Wednesday or whenever you're listing on the auction house, the chances of you selling things consistently is slim to none. So not only do you have to put things on the auction house and be consistent with what you put up, but guys, I'm not even joking, you have to bracket out an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, put a movie on, sit down, and just check your auctions for undercuts. If they're undercut, put up more gems and then recycle through the old ones in your mailbox, gather those up, and then keep, rinse and repeat. You have to be consistent and you have to frequently check and relist your auctions, because if you do not, you're going to get swallowed up, because you could put 10 gems on the auction house at phenomenal prices, think they're going to sell, and then you check back in literally, guys, 2 or 3 minutes, and there's 5 other people that have 10 stacks of one or 5 stacks of one or 3 stacks of one, whatever, underneath of you, and you're pretty much out of luck. So make sure you're consistent with listing and relisting. Bracket out some time. If you're going to do it correctly, and just you have to do that. Like, I cannot stress that enough. When you list your gems, you have to be consistent, or enchants, or anything that that is a hot commodity as far as it sells on a regular basis. You have to keep checking those. Number 5, guys, don't be afraid to pretty stack. I can't tell you how many times I've listed items at an astronomical price because everything below that was listed in 1 stack of 31 or 1 stack of 58. 1 second, guys. Let me get a little sip here. People with or without auction house add-ons don't necessarily know what they're doing or what prices are, but it's very visually appealing for people. So, for instance, there could be, so much Imperium, for an example, on the auction house, right? In the first 15 auctions, the ones that are the cheapest are 1 stack of 14, 1 stack of 167, 1 stack of all of those that are just sloppy stacks, I like to call that. That is where you can make a lot of gold, because, and I'm not saying go out and if Imperium is selling for 20 gold per and all of the pretty stacks, or excuse me, all of the uneven ugly stacks are listed below that at 19.99, 19.97, and then so on and so forth, there's no room right there for you to make gold. And not only that, you might lose gold if you buy those up and then flip those and pretty stack them, because you'll take an auction house cut. And at the end of the day, it's like, do you really want to go through all that trouble, just for a gold profit, or maybe not even a gold profit? So you have to make sure there is some wiggle room and you are making a majority of gold. But with that being said, items that are overpriced, there is room to pretty stack those, because you have to see necessarily. Let's just check here, guys. I'm going to check Imperium, and if you're driving or you're in the car or whatever, don't look over here. These coffee talks, I pretty much paint, I guess, pictures with my words, I like to call it. So I try to explain everything in full detail and kind of ramble on so you guys can kind of get a grasp of the full concept of what I'm talking about. So right here, guys, nothing really crazy. These are actually pretty stacks. 15 stacks of 50, 1 stack of 200, 1 stack of 5. Those are all pretty juicy, but you're going to run into a lot of situations where, let's check, perfect example, let's check copper ore. Right here, guys, perfect. So 1 stack of 16, 1 stack of 17, 1 stack of 8, 1 stack of 7, and then you have your pretty stacks here. So I would buy all of these out, and I would relist them right here at 750, just so it's appealing. And I cannot tell you how I preach pretty stacking on everything I do on my YouTube channel and my live stream. It is awesome, awesome, awesome. It depends on what you're listing, but 5, 10, and 20 are my usual stacks, my usual pretty stacks. So make sure you guys are doing that. If you have any questions throughout this entire coffee talk, make sure you do put a comment in the section below, and I will get back to it as quickly and as efficiently. And as well, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to midnight every single night, but Tuesday I'm live twitch.tv on my live stream. So you guys pop in there. The community is awesome. Fire away any questions you have. New Gold Goblin, old Gold Goblin, everything and everybody is welcome. So number 6, guys, careful flipping items you can obtain from vendors. I put that note down because people get carried away and people see prices or certain things and go nuts with either farming them and wasting their time. Not wasting their time, but time is money, friends, and that is a real thing. So for instance, let's use Imperium again. If we go out and we check the auction house and we know that Imperium has been either bought out or there's not a lot of it up there and the price is astronomically high, and we're going to go out and farm for 5 hours and then come back and list it and it's going to be kosher. Sometimes, and a majority of the time, it's not. Why? Because now Blizzard likes to put in vendors that kind of ruin the auction house. If you guys don't understand why prices have fallen and fallen so heavy, here's a perfect example. I'm clicking on the 200 versatility gem. Right here, the versatile Labrador Retrieverite. And it is 304 gold. Why is that? Because everything in the kitchen sink you can buy from either the new Primal vendor or the Old Blood of Sargeras vendor. So it's important to note that when you're flipping items, or you think you're cutting yourself a solid deal, or you're gonna buy all of these up, and oh my gosh, why would that person list 21 stacks of 200 like that? A majority of the time when there's that many stacks and that many things up listed like that, it's because they turned in their primals and or their bloods for the for those items in exchange. And when you have that happen, there's websites now that I think there's one called Blood Money, and I'm sure there's a primal vendor now, but you can look up your realm, NA, EU, and what realm you're on to see in real time, or every 30 minutes it updates what they suggest that you invest or spend your primals or your bloods on, because it will search your auction house for you and basically give you the option to basically, you know, be like, you know, Fell Slate right now is spiked because Saber's Eyes are expensive. Use your bloods on Fell Slate and then go flip that. So hope that gives you guys kind of an understanding of what is going on with the vendors now. And a lot of the items on the auction house have fallen and fallen hard during some points in time because of how many you can scoop up from. You can literally buy anything and everything from the vendors now, not only the blood but the new primal vendors. So make sure you guys are being super careful with the vendor items. Okay guys, number 7, always check your auction house deposits. What do I mean by this? This is probably one of those things that you've learned or forgot about, or maybe you have no idea about, but check this out. If I'm going to list up right now an uncut crafting reagent, the versatility gem, the blue gem here, the Labrador Retriever, right, I was talking about. If I just click on that, right, and I want to list this, if you notice here in Auctionator, this deposit is only going to cost me for 7 silver, 50 copper, okay? If I go back to Vietnam and I click on the Maelstrom Sapphire, the old blue gem that's selling for pennies, look at, if I want to sell one of these, the deposit, guys, is 3 gold and 15 silver. Some of you guys are listing and relisting items not knowing that the deposit for these things sometimes are astronomically high, and every time you're listing 500 stacks or 1,000 stacks of certain items, you have to check and double check the deposit of how much gold it actually costs to list these things, because some of the older items are just ridiculous, like absolutely insane. So the gems were a perfect example of that. Like I said, all of the new stuff out right now, the uncut and the cut gems, like even the cut gems, guys, if we go over And let's just search for, do we have any, here we go. Deadly Eye of Prophecy, okay? Those are cut, so that's a difference. These are three copper, but that just goes to show you cut gems, uncut gems, new gems, old gems, new materials, old materials. You need to always check. And once you have an understanding, usually if you check one gem, cut or uncut, in that whole tier, that whole family, it's going to be the same price. And that's going to be the case with enchants and all the other, you know, leatherworking, blacksmithing, all of those other professions. Once you find out what the minimum price is, the deposit, you'll have a good understanding of you know, how to move forward and how to manipulate and how to sell things, because there's no sense in listing old materials, Maelstrom sapphires, when you can sell them for 50 gold per, and it costs you, you know, 15 times to relist it at 3 gold per. You're just wasting gold. Okay. Number 8, guys. If you reset a market, babysit it. If you reset a market, babysit it. What do I mean by this? So the Lavish Suramar Feast, perfect example. I love to use this, and I love, if you guys take nothing from this coffee talk, you're going to reset, sidecard conversation here, you're gonna reset Lavish, Suramar Feast. Why is that? Because Nami, the chef, or lack thereof, in Dalaran, has been burning food for as long as he's been up. And what does that mean? Multiple people are taking plans, recipes, all kinds of great items to him to cook and to discover, and he's not necessarily giving them the recipes. Okay, so it's very easy to learn and skill up small recipes and small cooking items, but when you want to get to the big delicacies, the larger, you know, Lavish Suramar Feast, all of the big boys that raids use, you have to keep giving Nami food. You have to grind it out, and I recommend the add-on Nami Cakes. Again, Nami Cakes, N-O-M-I Cakes, C-A-K-E-S. It will actually tell you, if you scroll over the items in, if you open up Nami, he will have the items that you can give him to cook, but when you scroll over those items, it'll actually foreshadow what they will give you if he is to not burn the food and actually give you a recipe. So Lavish Suramar Feast, I love pushing those for about 1400, 1500 on my realm during Tuesday Reset. And not only Tuesday Reset, if you don't think I'm in trade chat all day, every day when I flip this, you're crazy. Want to sell? Lavish Suramar Feast, 500 plus stats for you plus the raid. PST, cheaper than Auction House. You know, you can even add in the more you buy, the cheaper it is. And I am slinging those all day long, because realistically, if you want to make those and you sell out your Suramar Feast and you want to mass craft those, you have to find all of the reagents to make those at a cheap price, number one. Number two, you have to have the plans to make it, to cook it, which a majority of people do not have. And then, you know, that is just going to drive the price up too regardless. But in trade chat, I get through and I get a lot of sales through the trade chat with the Suramar Feast. Again, listing it, explaining what it does for you in the raid, and then you just have people whisper you and just start conversations to start selling stuff. So even if you sell it for a couple hundred gold less than what it's on the auction house for, you're not taking that auction house cut and you're getting rid of it, guys. There's always going to be multiple opportunities to make gold. If prices aren't necessarily so hot right now, don't feed into a terrible market, but don't be afraid to get rid of those items on the spot right now. And then periodically, you're always going to get more Imperium. You're always going to have more gems, always more enchants, chaos crystals, ley light shards. You're always going to have more opportunities to make gold. So don't hoard your items. Kind of get rid of those. So this is more than 10 things, by the way, but I always go into little sidecard conversations because it's important. I mean, once I think about it and I'm talking about it, other things, you know, arise. So hopefully you guys are getting some pretty juicy things out of this this coffee talk session here. So if you reset a market, babysit it, babysit it, babysit it. There's no reason that you should spend all that money, hundreds of thousands of gold, you know, buying up Suramar Feast, relisting, and then somebody coming in right behind you and relisting their stacks, and then you just miss out on all of the opportunities and all of the money in gold that you spent trying to flip that item. So make sure if you do spend a lot of gold flipping a certain market, watch it, babysit it. Number 9, guys, always do the math. Always do the math. I can't tell you how many times I do this, right? And I go to my enchanting tab, and I go to my buy tab, or whatever you have here, auction house wise, and I click on just binding of, and I search it. The reason why, it brings up all of the enchants, the 3 cloak and the 3 ring enchants that are all binding of. The materials, if you have rank 3 guys, are all the same. Example, ring enchantments, binding of crit, 4 chaos crystals, 35 arcana. Binding of haste, 4 chaos crystals, 35 arcana. Why do I say do the math? Because if you think all of these prices on the auction house are going to be the same throughout the entire day, every day, all day, every day, you're wrong, guys. These spike so much. All of these enchants and all of these certain things spike so much because people simply don't understand that 3 different enchants cost the same amount of materials, but they're listed up at higher prices or different prices for you guys to make a killing. So it's important for you guys to always do the math. Why is this selling for 3,000 gold more? I'm not sure. Let's do the math. 4 chaos crystals, 35 arcana. Oh my gosh, I'm mass crafting those now. I'm putting those on the auction house. So make sure you guys, pen, paper, ask Siri, all kinds of stuff. It will work out for you. I promise you, and it will make you a better gold goblin. Last but not least, probably one of my favorite things of like all time is shoulder enchants. Okay, now this is a 2-sided, I guess, finisher. Last but not least, number 1, I go buy a majority of my shoulder enchants, 2 or 3 or 4 of them, and I keep them on deck just in case I have an upgraded item. So my 960 shoulders here, I actually have the boon of the Blood Hunter, revered reputation with the Vault of the Wardens in Azuna, I believe. Super nerd, I can't believe I remembered that. But if I open up my map here, you guys don't look here, down in Azuna, and Warden's Readout, there's going to be the boon of the Blood Hunter. So anytime you kill a mob, it has a chance to drop the your bloods of Sargeras. And why are those still beneficial? Because I love those. Because if you look at Fell Slate prices, still pretty juicy. Why are they still pretty juicy? Because Saber's Eyes are still used, prismatic slots, and these are still considered the 200 agility, intellect, and strength are still considered best in slot gems for a majority of certain classes. So that is a super phenomenal reason to make sure you have multiple shoulder enchants on. And you guys, I know a majority of you listening right now, some of you shaking your head, don't even have a shoulder enchant on. So whatever you're doing, keep the video running, get on your character, and go figure out which shoulder enchant works best for you and your economy. There's all kinds of things for cloth, for gems, for ore, for enchanting materials, for primals. That's the new one, the Light Bearer enchant. Back in, where's it at? It is back in the Argus. There's the new Light Bearer for primals. So the primal vendor, the blood vendor, depending on what you guys want to spend a majority of your time. And when you're out farming, if you do not have a shoulder enchant on and you're doing world quests consecutively or consistently, excuse me, and you're out there just like whacking away at open world items, if you do not have a shoulder enchant on, I have no idea what you are doing. Segue into one of the most beneficial / under the rug forgotten techniques and tricks about your shoulder enchant. Did you know that on your main account you can go reputation wise, if I'm only exalted or I'm only revered with the armies of you know, the new rep that gives you the, I think, Legion Fall or Light Fall for the Light Bearer shoulder enchant. Did you know that you can take any BOE, so bind on equip, or BOA shoulders, and you can enchant that on your main account, guys, and you can send it over to your alt, or you can send it over to another character. I know, insane. Once again, enchant your shoulders, any BOE. So if you have a level 98 and above, right, character, you can take any BOE shoulders, whether it's plate or anything really, buy it off the auction house, craft it, enchant it with whatever main enchant you want on your main account, put it in the mail, equip it. And with leveling and all of the scaling and systems, you guys can live and basically do without a shoulder piece until you hit 110, with the exchange of gathering up a lot of either bloods or primals or whatever. So imagine leveling from 98 to 110, going out, questing, farming, doing heroics, dungeons, and then at the end at 110, imagine how many bloods or primals or any other shoulder enchant you want to put on. You guys do not understand how powerful this is. Every single alt you guys have right now should have a shoulder enchant on from your main account. Okay, so go out, do some homework, see where your alts farm, what professions they have, what would work best with them, and then go around all the reputations, all the different items, shoulder enchant wise, and spam craft some shoulders, send it over to your alts, and go from there, guys. So that about wraps up this 19th coffee talk. I hope this helped. If it did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and do not forget to, of course, like it and share it, and most importantly, subscribe if you guys have not already. You guys can find me every single night except Tuesday on my live stream, twitch.tv/itskits. I'll put that in the description below. If you have any questions related to World of Warcraft or gold making, or just want to hang out with the family and join the family, pop in and check us out. So I love you guys to death. Make sure you have a great day and a great holiday season. I am out of here. Have a great day, guys. Peace.